Hi everyone. In this video, I will show the basic workflow of HairCard Creator. This is an introductory tutorial. We will go through what the plugin does, how its main logic is organized, how to create collections, add guides, edit cards, and finally generate the finished geometry. HairCard Creator is primarily designed for creating hair cards. You can use it for other tasks as well, but the main use case is this. We place guides on a mesh, and the plugin builds cards from those guides and gives us a set of tools for editing them. The core idea is simple. A card is not edited as a separate piece of static geometry. It is connected to a guide and to the card shape parameters. When we change the guide shape or the card parameters, the geometry updates automatically. The workflow is built around collections. A collection stores a set of guides, curves, cards, and service nodes connected to the mesh that was selected when the collection was created. Let's move to the UI. At the top of the panel, we have the buttons for creating a collection and a list of existing collections. There are also several helper commands here. Curve to guide lets you convert existing curves into guides with cards. Heal helps restore or resynchronize the data if something in the scene was changed manually or got broken. Delete collection removes a collection if you no longer need it. To create a collection, select the mesh you want to work on, click Create Collection, enter a name, and confirm. After that, the new collection appears in the list. From this point on, any new cards we add will become part of this collection. Next is the Main Tools block. It contains several basic tools for creating and editing guides and cards. The first and most important tool is Guide Creation. It works very simply. Click on the surface to add a new guide. A card is generated from that guide immediately. If curve and card visibility are enabled, you can see both the control curve and the result at the same time. With control, highlighting is enabled and we can delete a guide if we no longer need it. With Shift, we can move guides that have already been created. If it is easier to navigate by curves, you can enable Curve Display. You can work with curves and cards at the same time, but even with cards alone, it is usually clear enough what is happening. The next tool is Sculpt. It is used for sculpting guides directly in the viewport. A normal drag changes the shape of the guide, while the tool tries to preserve the length and softly redistribute the CVs. The tool has an area of influence. If we isolate a single guide, we can see that some CVs are highlighted more strongly and others more softly. This shows the fall off. The influence is stronger near the center of the brush and weaker near the edges. Sculpt has several working modes. A normal drag edits the shape. With Control, you can lengthen the guide, the length increases, but the CVs are distributed evenly along it. With Shift, Smooth is enabled, which helps soften sharp bends. So these are the main hotkeys for sculpting: drag for shape, Control for changing length, and Shift for smoothing. Next is the Rotate tool. This one works less with the guide itself and more with the card generated by HC Card Mesh node. A normal drag rotates the whole card around its guide. With Control, you can rotate only the tip, which effectively controls the twist along the card. You can use this tool without selecting anything first. Just find the card you need in the viewport and rotate it as needed. If isolation is enabled, the tool will work only with the cards inside the isolated area. If you select a part of the cards, editing will also be limited to that selection. This applies to Rotate and to the other editing tools as well. Rotate also has an additional mode. With Ctrl plus Alt, you can rotate the root of the card. In practice, this changes the rotate and twist parameters that are available in the UI but interactively from the viewport. The next tool is To N, meaning rotate to normal. It is useful when the cards are rotated in different directions and you want to align them relative to the normals of the source mesh. Click it once or several times, depending on how complex the shape is, and the cards will gradually rotate to better match the surface normals. Below that, we have the CV Count and Rebuild block. This is a simple way to change the number of CVs on a guide. For example, you can set the value to 4, click Rebuild, and the guide will be rebuilt with 4 points. You can increase the count to 5 or 6 if you need more control over the shape, or reduce it if the shape should be simpler. You can also change values by scrolling in the numeric fields, which makes it faster to find the right count. Next to this are copy and paste for the guide shape. If you need one guide to match the shape of another, copy the shape from one guide and paste it onto another. After that, the guides will have the same shape. The paste operation takes the normal into account, so the shape transfers correctly relative to the surface. Next is visibility and locking. The visibility buttons let you quickly show or hide curves, cards, or both. This is useful when you need to switch between editing guides and checking the final geometry. Freeze freezes the current collection. After that, you cannot add new guides to it, sculpt it, or rotate its frozen elements. This is useful when a group is already in the right state and you want to protect it from accidental edits. If you need to continue working later, you can unfreeze it. The next major block is card shape, the card parameters. In Arc mode, the plugin builds a standard card. Tube mode creates a tubular cross-section, which can be useful for dreadlocks or similar shapes. Let's go back to Arc. Alignment defines how the card cross-section is placed relative to the guide, either on top of it or so that the center of the cross-section matches the guide. Segment sets the number of lengthwise sections on the card. The more segments you use, the denser and rounder the geometry becomes. Reduce lets you optimize the topology based on curvature. Without Reduce, the topology is evenly distributed. With Reduce enabled, edges are removed where the curvature is below the specified threshold. This lets you reduce the polygon count on straight areas while keeping detail where the shape actually changes. Distance sets the spacing between sections. Combined with Reduce, this parameter helps you find the right balance between smoothness and optimization. Angle controls how convex the card profile is. Scale controls the overall size of the cross-section, which effectively means the card width. Rotate rotates the card around the guide. Twist twists the card along its length. Taper changes the width toward the end of the card, for example to narrow or widen the tip. In addition to the basic numeric parameters, there are also curves, angle curve, twist curve, and taper curve. They let you change values locally along the card, instead of using only one global value. Next is the UV module. It is better to edit UVs through the plugin tools rather than manually in the standard UV editor. The reason is that the card remains procedural. If you edit the UVs manually and then change segments, distance, or other card shape parameters, the manual edits may behave unpredictably. If the UVs were accidentally damaged, Heal can help restore the working state. For normal UV work, it is better to use the built-in manipulators. To see the texture, you usually need to select a card and go to UV. After that, you can move the UVs left and right, up and down, change Scale U and Scale V, and also invert the direction. Scrolling can be used for more precise value changes, especially when you need to place the UVs accurately inside an atlas area. A practical workflow is this. First, create a small set of cards, adjust their UVs as needed, and then use copy and paste to transfer the UV settings to other cards. If a card has been damaged, you can find a similar correct card, copy the UVs from it, and paste them onto the problematic one. There are also flip options in the UV block. One flips the vertical direction, so the root can be placed at the top or at the bottom. The other flips the horizontal direction. Together, they let you orient the texture correctly for the card. These are the main parts of the UV module. At the bottom of the panel, we have Combine. Combine has 3 modes. The first mode performs a full assembly. It combines all collections into one final mesh. This mesh can be exported or edited further as regular geometry. The original groups with guides and procedural cards are not removed. They stay in the scene, but they are hidden, and you can return to them later if you need to continue procedural editing. The second mode is by collection. It combines the result by collection. This is useful when you need to preserve separation by zones or hair groups, for example, one collection for one part of a hairstyle and another collection for a different part. The third mode is by card. It extracts the card topology and turns each card into a separate mesh without procedural history. The pivot stays at the root, so these objects are convenient to manipulate later if you need to continue working without the plugin tools. Another useful command is Guide to Curve. It works on collections and lets you extract regular curves from the current guides. This can be useful if you work with XGen. For example, you create a hairstyle in XGen, extract guides from it, convert them into cards, refine the shape in HairCard Creator, and then generate curves again to use them as guides in another pipeline. This way, you can keep the direction consistent between the cards and the original grooming system. Overall, these are the basic functions of the plugin. One more useful detail, you can copy scripts for the tools and assign them to hotkeys. Then you can launch contexts with hotkeys instead of clicking the icons. The panel includes the corresponding scripts for all main tools. That is everything for this video. Thanks for watching.